in order to impress mom and dad enough to make us look like we know what we're doing, let's dress this thing up and make it look really nice, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some of like the word features. For example, my monthly budget, I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to bold it right now. And I like to do all my formatting afterwards. I like to get the stuff in there and then fluff it. I see a lot of papers from my students sometimes that are all fluff and no stuff. So I want to get the stuff in here. So I'm going to, let's say, now we're going to fluff it up. Okay, my monthly budget. Now income, I'm going to make that a size 12 and I'm going to bold it. Now expenses, I'm going to make that a size 12 and I'm going to bold it, okay? And for balance, now check this out. This is a neat tool that you might want to know, a little advanced feature. This is called the, what do they call it? They call it the Format Painter. Now, Format Painter is cool because right now I have the expenses box selected. I'm going to click on Format Painter, and that's going to grab that treatment on here, and I'm going to click on Balance, boom, and Balance inherits that whole idea here. We also are dealing with not just numbers, but we need dollar signs and so forth, right? So let's make that look appropriate. The other thing is total. Here's what I'm going to do with the total. I'm going to bold the total, and I'm going to shift that over on alignment. Okay. Now totals are usually what? You remember, anybody from accounting? We usually what with the total? Underline, right? We double underline the balance and we single underline the total. Okay, so the total is here. Okay, and then this total here, let's make that bold and underline it and move it over. Boom. And I could have used Format Painter for that. And the top number here, I want to change this into currency because I want our dollar signs to show up. So let's say currency. Okay, and oh, that looks like a really bigger number than that because of the decimals. So let's take out the decimals. Boom, boom. Oops, I'm adding. I go the other way. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Now we have that nice number. I'm going to take my Format Painter and I'm going to add that to this. Okay, now that sees the same thing. I could go back and I see Format Painter and I'm going to add that to this one. Okay, and then Format Painter again, and I'm going to add that to entertainment. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Undo. That's another good thing about that is we can just undo it. So let me do my total, and I'll just do this one again. I'm just going to go to a currency. And again, the Format Painter was doing the exact same thing. It's just this is the longer way to do it, but you have to set it up first. So do that, and then we're going to underline that. And then our balance is also going to be a currency, and we'll take I don't know why I keep clicking that particular arrow today. I'm going to use a double underline. Now watch this, double underline. Cool. Okay, looking pretty good. However, we want to add a chart because charts are wonderful because maybe in this case it's pretty easy to see what do we spend most money on, what do we spend least money on. But in a chart, when you get a visual example of it, it really takes those numbers and brings it to life. Now, the trick with the chart is that you need to select the items that are going to be in the chart and nothing else. Okay? And here's what I mean. Let's make a chart for expenses. Now, what type of chart do you think would be good for expenses? And while we're thinking about it, I'm going to save. I'm just going to go ahead and save it because I don't want to lose my work. What kind of chart? You think a pie chart? Let's do a pie chart for that. So what I'm going to do to make a pie chart, I'm going to go to where it says Insert. Okay, and I have my stuff ready here. Now I select my data set. Now watch, I select all the way from rent all the way down to the last item. I don't include the total, and I'm going to show you why I don't include the total in a second. Okay, now I have my data set selected, and what I'm going to do is I'm on Insert on here, and I'm going to go to where it looks like a chart. Okay, here's charts, and I'm going to choose just a regular 2D pie chart. Okay, I select that. That looks nice. Now, I like this chart, but the problem with this chart is that I'm going to need a color printer if I'm going to want to see it and show it off. So you're going to see that I also have chart styles here. So let's pick a chart style that's better. Not so much. Not so much. I want something that's a little bit like I don't need to have a printer, a color printer to do. That's cool. If I worked with this a little bit, I think I can make it work. All right, so let's do that. I'm going to just kind of shore it up here. Maybe put it down. maybe if I put it underneath, I'm gonna stretch it out for now so we can take a look. Now, chart title. What do you think our chart title should be on this one? Expenses or monthly expenses, right? Monthly expenses. That's a fine. That's a fine. Okay, now this is the cool thing about a chart, and I got to tell you, this is a really great thing. Is that okay? What do we spend most of our money on? Rent. What do we spend least of our money on? Maybe PG&E. Do you have something else? School books and PG&E, right? Wonderful. So that's the beauty of a chart, just right there. It's like right there. So I'm going to stash this chart underneath for a second. We'll just put it here. Now let's do an income chart. Instead of a chart like a pie chart, let's do a, you know what? Before we do that, I want to show you something else. Okay, I'm going to bring this chart back up, and I'm going to remember that I'm going to edit the video. Maybe I won't. Who knows? Now, the reason why I don't include the total, okay? Because you're thinking, oh, my data set. You're not going to include the total because look what happens when I include the total. See what happens with the total? The total looks like this. It adds this total to it, and it messes it all up. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo that. Again, with your chart, you only select the data that's going to go into the chart. So I'm going to move that out of the way, just like undo that and move this down over here. So for this next chart, what we're going to do is we're going to do a bar chart. And so I'm going to select again the data that I want. That's the action here. And now I'm going to insert a chart. And it even has a thing, it's like, oh, recommended charts. You can choose that. But, you know, today I don't think I need a recommended chart. I'm just going to use one of these charts. Here's a column chart or a bar chart. And so I'm just going to do a little column chart. I think that looks good. Okay, chart title is going to be monthly income. Okay, monthly income. Okay, I'll get rid of that. Now, you can see here, this is pretty cool. I think we can even work with this. Let me shore it up a little bit. And you say, Mom and Dad, look, you're just helping me out this much. I mean, you know. And look how I have it so organized. I'm even thinking about miscellaneous things like if a car breaks or a tire or something like that. But I really do need your help with the $200. What do you think? You know, kind of thing. And maybe it could be a loan, or maybe that, or maybe it's a friend that loans you money. Whatever it is. But you realize that in order to move out, it's going to cost you about $1,600 on average. You know, $1,600 to $2,000 if you're living on your own. Okay. So that's something to think about. Not that I don't want you to do that, but listen, you got to stay in school. That's important for me. Yes. Oh, you got first and last. And, oh, yeah. No, yeah, there's all kinds of other little hidden expenses. And thank you for saying that. Today, we're just kind of keeping it simple. Now, there's another function I like that we're going to be using, and it's called the now function. And what now does is it gives you the date, like not the date like tomorrow or today or whatever. It's going to be the date that you open up the file. So if I put today's date on it and I don't use the now function and I open up tomorrow, so today is the 27th of September. If I open it up tomorrow, it would say the 27th of September. If I open it up a week from now, it would say the 27th of September. Now is different than that. Now puts the date like now, whenever you open the file. So let's do that. My monthly budget. Now I'm going to put the now function right here. And I'm going to say this is going to get, and then now is easy. I just type N-O-W, now, and then I close that and I hit enter. The problem is that you know what? I goofed it. That's not right. I say equals now, and then I put my parentheses here. That's how you do it. Okay, so here we go. And it says 9/27/2016 at 10:01. Okay? Now, we don't need the whole 10:01 business and so forth. I just would appreciate 9/27/16. Now, if I opened this up tomorrow, what would it say? 9/28. You get the idea. So in order to format this, I'm just going to go click on that thing, and I'm going to actually go to where my formatting is, and I'm going to format this as a short date. Boom. That's exactly what I want. I'm going to bold that. Okay, so how are we looking? We got a double underlined balance, totals, expenses looking good, font size is good. Now, I want to print it so I have a copy. So I'm going to say file and go to print and take a look. Now, in this case, everything looks pretty good. I know I can see that I have a little bit of something not printing here, but I always recommend go to print preview before you print because you end up into problems with Excel. Let me show you what I mean. Once you go to print preview, all of a sudden you get these little dotted lines and so forth, and those dotted lines are actually the paper where the paper stops as far as the print preview. So I realize that if I'm going to use this chart here and I want it to show up fully, I'm going to need to shore it up a little bit. So let me shore it up, see what that looks like. Can we still use that? That's doable, right? Okay. My monthly, okay, so now that's good. Let's see what it looks like when I print it or go to print preview. Yeah, that looks like everything's in here. Now, I'm missing one other thing. I wanted to give it a header because, we like headers and footers in here. So where would I insert a header? Page setup. Pull that down. Ah, here it is. Thank you. Look at you. See, that's the weird thing about the differences in the programs. It's like you know what you want to do, and then sometimes you have to kind of hunt and peck around for it. But like you don't need to take a whole new class because you know what you want to do. So let's say header and footer. All right. So let's say we want a custom header and left section. I want our names Scott and class. What's our section? 0485. Okay. 0485. Okay, and then we already got the date on it, so we're going to say, okay, great. And do we want a page number? We don't need a page number because there's only one page, so we say, okay, great. And so let's take a look, and so we'll save it. Oh my gosh, save. Great, so now it's saved. And then let's do the print preview and see what it's going to look like. Okay. Great. So I have Scott and class, monthly budget, income, expenses. How's that look? Now, what if we were to present mom and dad with that document? I think our chances are probably better than if we were just to have come up in conversation and try to do it that way. This gives us some leverage as far as like, hey, look, we've done our homework. We've looked this through. We're presenting this in a proper way. It's realistic relatively, and it shows the other person that you've thought it through. Now, later on in life, you might need to make a loan for a house, or you might need to make a profit and loss statement for your business. Okay, very similar to this. I mean, there's more details, of course, but this is the basics.